Hello my dear students and welcome once again to Zenith Academy Online. Today we'll be doing the detailed explanation of the poem A Tiger in the Zoo from the textbook First Flight for CBSE Class 10 students. So let's begin quickly. So how I'll be doing, I'll be taking each stanza explaining you the word meanings of those difficult words. Then we'll be doing the literal meaning of these lines and then the analysis. So this way we'll be talking about each stanza in detail so that you are able to write perfect answers. In the end, we will also do the summary type of questions, the theme, the message that the poet wants to give, so that everything is covered. In the next video, I'll also be talking about the literary devices in the poem. So this will give you an edge over all the students and you'll be able to score really well. Also, you should be practicing from these books. So this is most likely CBSE question bank for English language and literature, strictly based on latest syllabus, where chapter wise and category wise questions are there. Your board questions are also there. 2025 board paper is also included. Everything is there in the book. So along with the video, along with the explanation, you should also practice a lot from this book. I'll give you the link in the description. So let's begin quickly without wasting any time. Okay. He stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage, on beds of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. So that's the first stanza. Let's talk about difficult words. He stalks. Stalk means he's moving very silently or angrily. Okay. So whenever you are angry, you become quiet, you become silent, you don't want to, answer people or things. So stalking means moving silently or angrily. In his vivid stripes, vivid means bright or very clearly visible, and stripes are these stripes which are there on his body. Okay, the stripes are the lines which are there on a tiger's body. So it is vivid stripes means bright or clearly visible stripes. The few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet. Now what does pad mean here? Pad is this. So if you see the feet of tiger, so pads are the soft paws of tiger. Okay. So velvet, why it is referred to as velvet? Because it is soft and smooth. Okay. So velvet is also a soft and smooth material, right? A type of a cloth. In his quiet rage, rage means extreme anger. Now let's see the literal meaning of these lines. The tiger walks slowly and silently inside the limited space of his cage. His bright stripes are clearly visible and he moves on his soft paws in silent anger. So when we say he stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage. So here the few steps, okay, and the few steps. Why the few steps? Few steps shows that there is a limited space, and the few steps means it's definite. Okay, only this much is the area. Okay, so he stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage. It shows that tiger walks slowly and silently inside the limited space of the cage, and his bright stripes are clearly visible. On pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Okay, so he moves on his soft paws in silent anger. He's showing anger by being silent. Okay, so this is the literal meaning of these lines. I hope you have understood. The words are very important, so take the key away words, write them. Okay. Now, so this stanza highlights the contrast between the tiger's natural power and confinement of the cage. He is confined in his cage. Okay. His anger is suppressed. That is why it is quiet rage. Okay. Shown by his quiet movements and rage. So this stanza, the literal meaning, this is the literal meaning, that the tiger walks slowly and silently inside the limited space of the cage and his bright stripes are clearly visible and he moves on his soft paws in silent anger. What does the poet want to convey is the analysis. This stanza highlights the contrast between tiger's natural power. Okay, natural power is shown by his vivid stripes, his rage. Okay, So it highlights the contrast between the tiger's natural power and the confinement of the cage. He's there, has to walk in a limited space. So he's confined, his movement is confined. His anger is suppressed, okay, shown by his quiet movements and rage. Now, the poet now here says in the next stanza, he should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. So he should be lurking in shadow. What does lurking mean? Lurking means hiding secretly. Sliding through long grass. Sliding means moving smoothly. When you move smoothly, you say you slide. Okay. Near the water hole. Water hole here means a small pool of water in a dry area where animals go to drink. So an area which has only this. Okay, there's a big area and this small area where there is water. A small pool of water in a big dry area. In a big area where there's no water and only this much is the water. That is why it is called water hole. Okay, a small pool of water in a dry area where animals go to drink. Where plump deer pass. Plump means fat and healthy looking. So let's talk about the literal meaning. The poet imagines the tiger in the wild. That is why he is saying he should be. Okay, that is his natural thing. Okay, so he should be. So he is imagining that the tiger is in the wild, hiding in the shadows. Okay, sliding through the lurking in the shadows. Okay, sliding through the long grass, and so he is hiding in the shadows and tall grass near a water hole, waiting for the fat deer to pass by. So the analysis of this stanza shows where the tiger truly belongs. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through the long grass. He should be there. So this stanza shows where the tiger truly belongs. Where he belongs? In the wild, hunting. It emphasizes the contrast between the tiger's current life and his natural habitat. So the poet is saying, that is why the poet is saying that he should not be there in the cage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole. He should see where the plump deer pass. So he should be hunting. Now the next stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. So he should be snarling. What does snarling means? Growling angrily. Okay, that's snarling. Around the houses at the jungle's edge. At the jungle's edge, what does it mean? That the houses which are very close to the jungle, at the edge of the jungle. Okay. Baring his white fangs. Baring means showing. He is showing his white fangs. These are the fangs. Okay. Baring his white fangs. So fangs are long sharp teeth. Okay. Here. These are the fangs. These type of things. Okay. These are the fangs. Terrorizing the village. Terrorizing means causing fear. So you understood the meaning? So that's the literal meaning. The tiger should be near jungle villages. What are jungle villages? Which are the houses which are at the edge of the jungle. Okay. Growling, showing his teeth and claws and scaring people. This is the natural behavior of a tiger. So the poet means to say that he is showing another image of the tiger's power. The poet shows another image of tiger's power. Creating fear among humans. That's his power. Creating fear among humans. This further stresses how unnatural and sad his life is in the cage. Okay. But he is locked in a concrete cell. Okay, the next paragraph or next stanza. He is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Okay. So he is locked in a concrete cell. Concrete means made of cement. This is made up of cement. Okay. Concrete cell. What is cell? Cell is a small prison-like room. Very small room which is like a prison. Stalking the length of his cage. This line is again repeated. Stalking means moving silently or angrily. and ignoring visitors. So the literal meaning of these lines are: the tiger is locked in a cement enclosure. His power is useless behind the bars. He walks up and down the cage and does not care about the people watching him. Okay, so he is locked in a cement enclosure, and his strength behind the bars, very important lines, his strength behind the bars means his power is useless behind the bars. Stalking the length of his cage means he is walking in the cage in the limited space. So he walks up and down the cage and ignore visitors, does not care about the people who are watching him. So what does the poet wants to convey here? So this stanza describes the harsh reality of the tiger's caged life. His natural strength is wasted and he has become indifferent to the outside world. Now that's the last stanza of the poem. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars. What are patrolling cars? That are moving around for guarding. Okay. And stares with his brilliant eyes. Stares, to look continuously at something or some point. Okay. With his brilliant eyes. Why eyes are called brilliant? Brilliant means here shining very brightly at the brilliant stars. So stars are also shining brightly and his eyes are also compared to stars because that is also shining brightly. At night, so the literal meaning of these lines is: at night the tiger hears the noise of the guards' cars and looks at the stars with his bright eyes. That's the literal meaning of these lines. Now what does the poet want to convey? The poem ends with the image of a lonely tiger. So this stanza is showing the image of a lonely tiger. His majestic self is now limited to watching the stars from his cage, a symbol of lost freedom. This is a symbol of freedom that he has lost. So this is the symbol of lost freedom. So let's talk about the theme of the poem. The poem A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris contrasts the life of a tiger in the zoo with its natural habitat. So which two lives are contrasted? His life in the zoo with its natural habitat. So in the zoo, the tiger moves in limited space, his power and instincts suppressed. The poet imagines how the tiger should be in the wild, free to stalk prey and express its natural behavior. Through strong visual imagery, the poem shows the sadness and injustice of confining a wild animal. The poet uses powerful contrasts like the tiger's majestic presence and the small cage, its natural hunting skills and the lifeless pacing. So these powerful contrasts are used to create sympathy for the tiger and raise awareness about the cruelty of keeping wild animals in captivity. So I hope you have understood the theme. So what message does the poet wants to convey? The poem reminds us of the importance of freedom for all living beings. It makes us reflect on how unnatural it is to cage a wild animal. The tiger, a symbol of strength and grace, loses its essence when locked behind the bars. So Leslie Norris urges readers to value wildlife and respect the natural order by allowing animals to live in their rightful places, that is, forests and not in cages. So this poem is a call for empathy, freedom and understanding the beauty of the wild. Very important slide, very important words, students. I want you all to copy the theme and the message as it is. In our next video, we'll be doing the literary devices and also the rhyming scheme. So go ahead and watch that video as well. And once again, let me remind you of this amazing book where 2025 board paper is included for English language and literature. Complete guide is there for self-study. Previous year's board questions are there chapter wise. Multiple choice questions are there. And this is competency focused and extract based questions are also there. Okay, it includes all the summaries of each and every chapter and poem as well as detailed self guide is there. So you can go ahead and have a look. The link is there in the description. So that's all for today, my dear students. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not yet subscribed. We are coming up with all the poems and chapters for CBSE class 10. Bye bye.